Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Grey Remnant here. Today we're doing another movie review. We're reviewing Terminator Genisys, with Genesis spelled wrong, of course. Oh, I should point out spoilers. This whole thing has spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, leave. Turn the video off. But yeah, don't watch if you don't want spoilers. You've been warned. Fair warning. Before I begin, I need to get something out of the way. This is a bad film. Let there be no ambiguity or confusion going forward. Unlike Jurassic World, which was, at the very least, fun, Terminator Genisys is not. It's rife with plot holes and it's very tedious. It has no silver lining. It's just plain bad. Do not expect me to praise this film in any capacity because it does very little right, okay? Why is it bad, you might ask? There's lots of reasons. But I, quite frankly, don't even know where to begin. So I guess we'll just start with a plot analysis, and then that'll conclude with some sort of rage conclusion of some kind that hopefully you'll find enjoyable at the very least. So let's get started. How does this movie begin? It starts with that tired old montage of Skynet nuking everybody, kind of like they did in Terminator 2, except that Terminator 2 did it better. But nevertheless, we fast forward to the year 2029, where John Connor and Kyle Reese and their troop of rebel forces are raiding Skynet's main fortress. Just imagine Bowser's Castle, except more steampunky. That's what it looks like. Of course they succeed, and they destroy the Skynet core. But you know that. But unfortunately, Skynet sends the T-800 back in time to kill Sarah Connor, of course. And I might point out that when they destroy the Skynet core, apparently every single machine drops dead, just like ragdolls. They all just deactivate, except that the T-800 that they sent back in time is still operational. Why, I don't know. I mean. Even if Skynet were still operational, you would think that the T-800 would still be dead upon arrival in 1984, considering that its satellite or radio signal connection with said Skynet core would be severed. I mean, does the Terminator have special abilities? Can it operate independently of the core? And if so, why the hell is this ability unique only to the Terminator? Why not give it to every robot? You would think that would be marginally useful, no? No, okay, I guess they reserved that feature for premium models. What a jip. And while the T-800 is getting prepped to be sent back, the computer system is like announcing it over like a loudspeaker. Why? The room is empty. It's a machine, but what are they announcing it to? Is Skynet talking to itself? I guess so. Weird, but But nevertheless, the humans immediately prepare to send Kyle Reese back in time to combat the T-800. They magically know how to work the time machine and press exactly the right buttons. How is that even possible? I didn't know that they had members in the Resistance who were quantum physicists as well as engineers with experience in space-time wormhole-type anomalies. I mean, it's just... We'll just ignore that. So Kyle Reese is in the time machine, and just before he gets warped back to 1984, he notices some suspicious-looking dude, who's played by Matt Smith, attack John. Now I have a question. Why did the Matt Smith Terminator, who was clearly in the room the whole time, wait until after Kyle Reese was sent back to make his attack? You mean to tell me he just stood there while everyone chatted about how they were going to send somebody back to undermine Skynet's plan? I mean, I think that right before he attacks John Connor, he grabs him and he says something like, "Did you really think it would be that easy?" It's like, so he has the intellectual capacity to drop one-liners, but he doesn't have the common sense to just kill everybody before they send Kyle back and leave the T-800 unopposed. He doesn't think, he just sits there, he's just hanging out. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, guy. And nobody notices? Like, how long was he with the Resistance? It doesn't make any sense. I guess the writers were like on heroin when they wrote this scene because they were clearly unconscious. They weren't thinking about it at all. They were just, it was horrible. My God. But ignoring this blatant ridiculousness, let's move on to some more blatant ridiculousness. So Kyle is flying through some ridiculous time wormhole when he starts to have visions. Yes, he has visions that detail an alternate timeline where Skynet doesn't wipe out humanity in 1997, but rather in 2017 via some vague computer software called Genisys, with Genesis spelled wrong. This would be something called a plot contrivance, which is a stupid, unexplained event that moves the plot in a desired direction. Though the writers tried to explain this one off as like some anomaly that happens at nexus points in space-time for absolutely no reason. Nice try, guys. Think harder next time. So the T-800 arrives in 1984 exactly where he does in the original film, only this time, instead of killing the dumb punks he encounters, he instead is confronted by another T-800. Both of them are the Arnold Schwarzenegger model, I'd like to point out. So they bash each other around with their fists and other conveniently placed heavy objects, but during the brawl, Sarah Connor shoots the bad T-800 with a high-powered sniper rifle, and she apparently destroys its power core or whatever, and it's just like and it just like deactivates. Meanwhile, Kyle arrives in 1984, exactly where he does in the original film as well. Only this time, instead of being intercepted by a cop, he's intercepted by a T-1000. Not the Robert Patrick model, but the far less popular Lee Byung-hun model. I can't pronounce his name. I know it's disappointing, but you have to remember, Robert Patrick did not age well. It had to be done. Trust me. He doesn't want to. He'd have to do massive mods of CGI to make him even remotely presentable. So Kyle flees to a department store where he's intercepted by both the T-1000 and two dumbass cops who try to arrest him for virtually no reason. Oh, the T-1000 kills one of the cops and closes in on the others, but Sarah arrives in a big armored van and shoots the T-1000 with a handgun, which causes him to like bounce back. You know, like the bullets are actually able to actually hinder his progress. I don't know how. I mean, bullets don't have that kind of force. I think the Mythbusters proved this a long time ago, but whatever. We'll just ignore that. So she saves Kyle, and they leave that other police officer behind alive. But the T-1000 chases them and attaches a piece of himself to the back of the vehicle to track their location. Obviously, this T-1000 has a few upgrades than the one in Terminator 2, because I don't think that one had that ability, but whatever. While they drive to some unknown location, Kyle meets the other T-800. Sarah conveniently named him Pops. How cute. So stupid. Who was sent back when Sarah was a child to save her from two other Terminators that were sent back to kill her. I don't know where those two Terminators came from, and I don't know where the Pops Terminator came from either. It's undisclosed throughout the entire movie. They don't tell you at all. You have to wait for the sequel, bitches. All right. So anyway, they lure the T-1000 back to a junkyard. Kyle shoots the T-1000 with a heavy machine gun, and it has virtually no effect. Like, it just keeps like running at him. Remember before when Sarah was shooting him with a handgun and he was just like bouncing back like a rag doll? Do you remember that? Well, apparently the heavy machine gun has no effect. No, it's not the same. The handgun, that can bounce him back. The heavy machine gun, no. He just walks right by that. Maybe the T-1000 was just pretending to get knocked back before to draw them into a false sense of security. No, that's just bad writing. Forget it. So the T-1000 finds the T-800 that was killed at the beginning of the film and puts some of his liquid metal in its eye socket, which causes the T-800 to reactivate and immediately attack Kyle. Now, I'd like to point something out. The reason the T-800 was killed was because its power core was destroyed, not its brain. How the hell does the polymimetic alloy do that? I mean, I could see it repairing its CPU, but not the nuclear fission battery that powers it. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. It's not like it even matters because Kyle promptly decapitates the T-800 by shooting it in the neck. So, there's that. Meanwhile, Sarah lures the T-1000 to the basement where she drowns it in an acid trap. Yeah, that was easy. No, seriously, it's dead. I seem to remember the Robert Patrick model being much more resilient, but I guess they just don't make them like they used to. So, yeah, this one, acid. No, it's just dead. It died. It's gone. Now, if you think this film has been shaky up until now, let me tell you, you haven't seen anything yet. Okay? Sarah and Pops unveil, and get this, a time machine that they've built from scrap metal. Yes, You heard me right. They built a time machine with junk and spare parts. It's just like Iron Man. Well, except Tony Stark never made a time machine with scrap metal. He just made a high-tech battery. But yes, apparently building a time machine isn't all it's cracked up to be. I'm surprised they didn't just outfit a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and just floor it. Why not? I take this movie far less seriously than I did Back to the Future, mainly because Back to the Future is a good movie. This isn't. So Sarah's plan is to go to 1997 and destroy Skynet, but remember that Kyle had those visions, aka educationally subnormal writing, which meant that Judgment Day had been pushed to October of 2017. Yes. I love how, of all the memories that could have flashed through his mind, it had to be the specific memories that would have specifically told him how and when Genisys launched the world's nuclear arsenal. It had to be those exact memories. So they take a detour and head to 2017, but Pop stays behind since his arm was damaged in the previous fight and there was exposed metal. And remember, if you go in the time machine with exposed metal, the gravitational field will rip you apart. So, okay, now hold on a second, because there's something that's been bothering me for a while. Why the hell does the magnetic field only interact with exposed metal? I mean, that's not how gravitational fields work. You can't just fool the gravitational field by covering something metal with organic matter. It's ridiculous. That's why you can't use an MRI machine if you got a bullet in you, because it'll rip the bullet out. That's the whole point. It makes no sense. And why can't people wear clothes? Why the hell not? It's fabric, not metal. What's going to happen? Honestly, the writers think that magnetic field is like a security officer at an airport. You can't just smuggle something in. Magnetic field isn't a conscious entity. It doesn't care if you wrap it in skin or whether or not you wear clothes. I really don't care anymore, though, because I've been asking this question for years since the original Terminator came out, and I've never had it answered, so I'm not even going to ask. So Sarah and Kyle end up in 2017, but they warp right in the middle of traffic and on a busy highway, where they cause a massive pileup. So, and a car traveling at breakneck speeds hits Kyle right in the back. He's completely uninjured. Literally, he's just completely fine. He's like, oh, I'm fine. I mean, I honestly suspected in the theater that Kyle was secretly a Terminator throughout the rest of the film. I was a fool. It turned out it was just bad writing. I should be used to that by now. So Sarah and Kyle end up in police custody, where they encounter the cop from the department store in 1984, and he's played by J.K. Simmons. So naturally, this is the only part of the film that doesn't completely suck, because he lends some comic relief, much needed comic relief. John Connor turns up, much to the surprise of the protagonists, who are as utterly confused as everybody in the audience as well. John Connor assures them that he's traveled back in time to aid them in their quest to destroy Skynet, so they're just like, oh, okay, makes sense. The only problem is that Pops shows up and starts blasting him with a shotgun they had concealed in a giant teddy bear. Little nod to the second film. Yes, it turns out John Connor is now a Terminator. The shifty Matt Smith dude at the beginning of the film was actually a T-5000 who exposes John Connor and the rest of the resistance to some weird electromagnetic metal crap, which causes everybody but John to die. That's convenient. John, in turn, is transformed into a T-3000, a fusion of organic matter and the aforementioned electromagnetic metal crap. I guess the T-5000 sent the T-3000 back to a time shortly before 2017 to jumpstart and pioneer the Genisys program. So Sarah, Kyle, and Pops evade John and seek shelter in some secret bomb shelter filled with convenient weaponry. They stock up and they set out to destroy Skynet, but John shows up and attacks them. He apparently knew where they were. I don't know how. They board a bus and they flee. But the T-3000 pursues them on a motorcycle. At some point, John ends up on the bus, and he rips the axis off the bottom of the vehicle, which causes the bus to be jettisoned 40 feet into the air. To be honest, I don't have a single clue how that happens. I mean, physically, it doesn't make sense. Again, I think the writers were on hardcore hallucinogens when they wrote this scene, because it was the rabblings of maniacs, to be totally honest. The bus ends up hanging from the side of the bridge, and the trio manages to climb out while the T-3000 falls with the bus to the water below, and Sarah, Kyle, and Pops are promptly arrested by the cops for causing mass chaos. I can't blame the cops in this scenario. It's technically true. So They end up back in jail where they're rescued by J.K. Simmons, who's convinced that they're time travelers sent back to save the world. They get away in the helicopter, but the T-3000 manages to follow suit and pursue in his own helicopter. And at some point, they manage to gain some altitude, and Pops jumps from the chopper and dive bombs into the other helicopter, which causes it to crash into, like, the ocean. So Sarah and Kyle infiltrate Skynet and are confronted by, like, some holographic child, like that thing from Mass Effect 3 that everybody hated, who tells them that he intends to wipe out mankind whether they like it or not. He's just like, yeah, deal with it, bitches. And it's like, interestingly, though, Skynet is clearly already fully self-aware, but it still can't launch the nukes until this, like, arbitrary timer that always happens to be in view counts down to 0. The timer is apparently more powerful than Skynet. And the best this little holographic kid could do is, like, slowly speed up the timer. He can't bypass it. He can only, like, speed it up. So Sarah and Kyle wire the facility with C4, prepare to blow it sky high, while Pops fights John and lures him into a quantum field, which results in Pops being jettisoned into a vat of polymimetic alloy, while John is scrambled by the quantum field. Sarah and Kyle get to a bunker and blow the charges, causing the entire facility to be leveled to the ground. Pops unexpectedly opens the door to the bunker and is revealed to be a brand spanking new T-1000 due to his immersion in the polymimetic alloy. Yes. So I guess that building a T-1000 is fairly simple. All you have to do is casually toss a hard drive into some polymimetic alloy, and it just automatically uploads itself with no computer-aided assistance whatsoever. It's just like, yep, upload complete. It's done. He's good. No, you don't have to do it. It's good. And then they all drive into the sunset and the credits roll. Yeah, I kid you not. That's the plot of Terminator Genisys. Yes. And your IQ is now 10 points lower for having listened to it. Congratulations. So, that's the plot. Let's move on to the pros and cons. Pros, not many. J.K. Simmons is awesome. He lends some comic relief in this otherwise dull film. That's nice. Matt Smith is also pretty good, but he has like 5 minutes of screen time, so it's not really that big a deal. So, the cons... of which there are many. All of the characters exhibit absolutely no chemistry with one another. Like, it's honestly just, it's really, most of the dialogue is dominated by lame one-liners, most of which are intended to be funny, but aren't. The plot is absolute garbage. It makes Jurassic World look Oscar-worthy in comparison, and that's saying something because Jurassic World did not have a very good plot. So, the film presents this opportunity to, like, link Skynet with modern society's obsession with social networking, but it doesn't really build anything off it. It only, like, references it once, but it's never really part of the story. It's really a waste, to be totally honest. I mean, think of all you could do with that. A smart writer could have done more. The T-1000, which was a monstrous source of fear in the second movie, is dispatched like a piece of trash in this film. It's like, oh, acid. Bye-bye. Oh, and of course, as always, Skynet continues to prove it's completely idiotic. It sends a T-3000 back to 2017, when it really should have sent it back to the late 1800s, where it could subvert mankind, build Skynet right under their noses, and destroy everyone long before John Connor could ever be born. Hell, why not just send the T-5000 back with him? I don't see why not. But no, Skynet's always just like, no. We have to give them a chance to stop our plans. Plot holes? There are about 5 plot holes in this film. Plot hole 1. The Resistance is somehow able to operate a time machine that they have absolutely no experience with. Yeah, right, because that would happen. No, that would never happen. It would never work. Forget it. 2. The T-5000 hangs out amongst the Resistance while they plot Skynet's downfall and doesn't attack until after they sent Kyle Reese back in time. Absolutely ridiculous. He would have killed them all long before that, and he would have left the T-800 to kill everybody with no assistance whatsoever. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Number 3, the T-1000 is knocked back by bullets from a handgun, but is unhindered by gunfire from a far more powerful machine gun. No, sorry, you can't do that. That's ridiculous. Next, number 4, Sarah Connor and Pops are able to build a fully functioning time machine from scrap metal, while Skynet is incapable of building one with a multi-billion-dollar budget and the assistance of the T-3000, which has all the knowledge Pops does on the matter. So I don't see why they have more success with junk metal than Genisys does with billions of dollars of resources. It makes no sense. And number 5, the worst plot hole of all, Skynet becomes fully self-aware but lacks the conscious ability to override the ridiculous little countdown clock and launch the nukes. Nope, gotta obey. The clock still hasn't run out. We can't launch the nukes until the clock goes out. That's a fact. It's a rule. I'd love to destroy mankind, but, it's not time yet. Yeah, schedule. The itinerary. It's not. No. We gotta wait. Absolutely ridiculous. And there's lots of minor plot contrivances as well. Most of the robots are destroyed when Skynet's core crumbles, yet the T-800 and T-5000 are still fully operational. Why is this not implemented in the rest of the machines? If the T-5000 and T-800 models are both capable of operating independently of Skynet's core, why is this not a common feature? It's useful. Why? And then you got Skynet making announcements over loudspeakers when it performs tasks, yet there's absolutely no need for it. It's an empty room with no intended living audience that would ever need to be in it. What's the point? Surely the machines communicate wirelessly. They don't need to hear it. This is like, deploying T-101 in 5 seconds. Why? What are you announcing that to? Yourself? It's weird. And you got Kyle having visions of alternate timelines, something no character in the Terminator series has ever experienced while time traveling. Not only that, but the vision is extremely specific. It details exactly what he needs to know in order for their plan to destroy Skynet to succeed. It's just ridiculous. Then you got polymimetic alloy being used to repair physical damage to the core of a T-800. I seem to remember somebody in Terminator 2 saying that was impossible. It can only form, like knives and shit. It can't, repair a nuclear fission core. It doesn't make any sense. You got the time machine that's partial to clothing and metal, but doesn't seem to care as long as metal is concealed beneath organic matter. Sorry, it makes no sense. And this applies to every single Terminator film, not just this one. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it blows my mind. Then you got Kyle Reese getting hit by a speeding car on the highway and sustains no apparent injuries or even pain for that matter. He just kind of shakes it off like, yeah, I'm good. Really? You're good? How? It's a car. Okay? I mean, unless he's a Terminator, it makes no sense. And you got John Connor is absolutely set on ensuring that Skynet wipes out mankind and has the audacity to ask Sarah and Kyle if they want to tag along. Is he retarded? He's like, hey, you guys want to join me? It's going to be awesome. We're going to wipe out mankind. They're like, we're mankind, you fucking idiots. He's like, oh. Yeah, well, I guess I'll just kill you. Well, you dumbest Terminator ever. You got the school bus flipping 40 feet in the air for no reason. I don't understand why that happened. And then you got the T-1000s that are apparently made by just dropping a hard drive into a vat of polymimetic alloy with no computer-aided assistance whatsoever. That's just how they're made. Conclusion. Let's see. How do we conclude this utter clusterfuck? Remember how I said the Jurassic World was a fun film with bad writing? Well, this is similar. It's a dull film with bad writing. In retrospect, I actually like Jurassic World much better now that I've seen this utter disgrace of a movie. I have to say I felt like all the main protagonists were miscast. I really didn't like any of their performances. Emilia Clarke, an actress I've been on the fence about in terms of acting ability, has proven to me once and for all she's a lackluster actress and she really doesn't have much ability. All her inflections were wrong throughout this movie, and she made Sarah Connor seem like an immature loser with no depth whatsoever. Yeah, you heard me, bitch. You got Jay Courtney, who was cast as Kyle Reese. Yeah, he looks nothing like the original actor who played him in the first movie. And add that to the fact that he's a terrible actor anyway. I mean, he didn't seem like a man from the future. He seemed more like a high school dropout with no intrigue whatsoever. That's what he was. And you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm sorry to say it, I wish he'd retire from this tired old role. His one-liners and his shit is just not as catchy as it used to be. Okay? And I found him for the first time in the series to be one of the main sources of boredom in this film. Like, he really was. Like, I really couldn't care less about him in this fucking film. The supporting characters were a little bit better. Jason Clarke was at least entertaining in his portrayal of a psychotic John Connor turned Terminator. Matt Smith was good in his role too, but he was only in it for 5 seconds. So, what are you going to... And J.K. Simmons was nice to have around in a few scenes as well. But it wasn't the acting that truly sunk this film. It was the writing. I mean, I honestly can't believe how many plot holes and plot contrivances the writers managed to squeeze into this movie. It's amazing. They should get an award for it. They just wrote whatever they wanted without considering the logicality, probability, or even possibility of anything that happened. They were just like, yeah, it just happened. Don't worry about it. They put minimal effort into it, and it shows horrifically. The dialogue was less compelling than the dialogue in 300. No, really, it was. It was like watching wrestling. It was one mindless one-liner after another with no sign of intelligence whatsoever. At least they had the common courtesy of recycling some of the dialogue from the original films, which was probably the high point of the film, albeit unoriginal. But what really hurts me about this film is that it had potential. You know, it really did. It had potential. The themes of social networking could have been handled much better. But it was handled by hacks, people who don't know how to write and people who suck. That's just a fact. When it comes to sequels, Hollywood scrapes the bottom of the barrel. They just do. They can't hire anybody who's competent. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually prefer the rabid overacting of Claire Danes accompanied by the mindless action sequences of Terminator 3 to this garbage. I give it a lowly 1.5 stars out of 4. The Terminator series is officially dead. Time of death, July 1st, 2015. I've just called it. All right, it's done. I think I've said all I need to say. I think you get the point. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you're looking at this project on PMC, give it a diamond. And I will see you guys on, I think, the 17th when Ant-Man comes out. Hopefully Ant-Man will be slightly good. Hopefully. I mean, I've reviewed 2 bad films in a row now. I'd like to review something good for the first time in a while. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for watching. Grey Remnant signing out. See you guys later. Bye-bye.